All right. It looks like that one's up. Okay, Twitch is back up, I think. Is YouTube back up? Analytics. Is this actually connected? It says it's streaming to YouTube. View on YouTube. It says, oh, yep, YouTube is live. Okay, so it's live to a different stream event than the other stuff. Of course it is. Okay, let me find out how to actually read the YouTube chat. So yeah, what happened? Assuming I can get this working. Okay, I have a YouTube chat here. Let me test. Let me see if I can send something to both of these chats. Okay, so yeah, I can read YouTube chat again. All right, so what happened was I moved a window on Brave, and that took down everything. It crashed my graphics card. Somehow, like the whole screen went black. It restarted. That took out OBS. OBS froze. That disconnected me from YouTube. And then because of how YouTube works, you can't just stream again. You have to create an event to stream. And I guess I must have went live to a different event, maybe. So I think we're good now, but good Lord. Again, it's like I said, this is going to be like a learning experience for me where I have to figure out how to actually like stream without this stuff happening. Unfortunately, it also messes up like the analytics. So now I have no way of knowing like how this compares to other days, but we'll see. And then I think I was being threatened before that went down. If you touch the VS Code window, I'm sending 30 more links. Okay, you know what? You can't stop me. I will develop. So we have this link. We can now change the text to sort. It doesn't have to take us anywhere. Unless we want it to. Maybe we do. We could send it somewhere. We could say like, you click on the link and it takes you to the sort path. Sort links path. Like that. We can give this a class. So let's come over to our routes. We can create a sort links path. We can do like, I don't know, get admin/sort. And then this can go to, he's back with the links. History and memes. Oh, what a majestic couple of animals. Jesus. Okay, we're gonna do this. Get admin sort. This is gonna go to admin sort as admin sort link, and then we can come over here, change this to admin sort link. Like that. Over here and refresh. We have this as a button. Give this a class. Anything to avoid coding, yeah. And then we need some buttons, which we'll get from our links form. Right? No. Yes. I guess we do get it in here. We'll grab this. Okay. Go over here, and then we can put these in here. Over here, and we can do this. Okay. Yeah, and again, like, I'm sorry that everything crashed. I still don't know what's causing OBS to occasionally just die, but it's really not great because it then it requires me to like create a whole new event on YouTube, and then like I'm sure that's sending notifications out that don't need to be sent out. So that gives us a sort button that takes us to the admin controller, and then in the admin controller we create a sort action. Then what we want to do is just sort, and then we can set the positions based on how it's sorted, I guess. So what we want to do is say something like sort the user's links. I will just say alphabetically. and then update the position for each link, right? Something like that. So we can do something like, I don't know, at links equals current user links, current user dot links, dot order by, I don't know, name, I guess. And then we can go through this and we can actually sort these. Let me just check real quick. It looks like everything's working again. I think so. I know the Twitch chat's working. YouTube, it looks like it's coming back up. It's still complaining. Let me just see. Yeah, okay, so Restream is capturing it. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out like what all I broke when I did that. And then we can come in here and we can do, I don't know, like, how would we want to do this? Let's see what Copilot comes back with. I don't really know how I want to sort these. It was just kind of something I thought about and I was like, oh, this would be cool. But yeah, you can definitely tell that YouTube doesn't prioritize its streaming as much as Twitch does, obviously. Like, of course, that's Twitch's whole thing. But with YouTube, it's like, it's very much a video that they have now repurposed into a stream. And there's the Twitch bot, like, spamming that again. Which is just like, it's posting the title in chat for some reason. I think that's the Stream Elements bot that's like, the Stream Elements bot is like using my name for some reason, and then it's just spamming in chat. Oh, this doesn't make sense, right? Position is index +1. I mean, I guess we could try this. And I don't know how to fix that. Like, I don't know why the Stream Elements bot is using my name and then reposting the title. It's not in, okay, you know what? Fine, I'll get distracted again. It's not in the settings. I have tried to figure out where this is coming from. I tried Googling it, and the only thing people said was like ban it from your chat or something. I'm like, that doesn't seem like the solution that I need to use here, but okay. So it's like the chat bot, and then they said if you link it to your chat, it can then use the name. And I guess maybe other people are just creating second accounts for their bots. Maybe that's what they're doing. But then I don't know why it's posting the title of the stream occasionally. Stream Elements bot spamming stream title. See if this is a thing. I don't know. I guess I have all weekend. I'll figure it out over the weekend. It doesn't matter. Okay, let's come over here. Is missing a template. Yeah. So, I don't know. After it does this, we can redirect to the admin index path. Again, not the best way to do this right now, but hopefully it'll work. So Twitch, YouTube, GitHub, whatever. All right, because we're like fetching as soon as we on hover, right? Well, that's not ideal. Oh boy. Okay, hold on. I have to actually look at what this is doing. Okay. Let's do this. Let's stop the server, run into a Rails C. Zoom in a bit so you guys can actually read this. Current user equals user.first. Grab the first user. Then we can grab that user's links. Like that. Which will give us this. Which is all of our links right here. And then we can come in here and we can say, maybe we do this. And then we can do puts the link.position like that. We'll put this in here. We'll see what this does. Okay. Apparently that's rendering a bunch of stuff. Link.update. This is puts. Where's all this stuff coming from? Okay, and then this gives us a Twitch, YouTube, GitHub. Okay, so now let's grab our links again. This at links. Twitch, YouTube, that and that. Position is the index of it plus 1. Okay, wait. What if we do like link equal? Let me get out of here. Link equals link dot last, right? Link. That's our GitHub link. And then let me come into the acts as list gem. Let me see if there's a way to like do this, because maybe they just have a better way of doing this. Okay. Move to top of list, move to bottom of list, insert at list. Increment position. Is there a roadmap sort based feature? Okay, so there is no sorting yet. So that's something you have to implement yourself. Fantastic. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I wonder if there's like some kind of like conflicting stuff here. What if I just set this dot, let's do dot update position to 1. What does that do? It says true. Does that change anything? bin/dev. Refresh. Okay, so now GitHub has position 1. So in theory, this should work, right? But we could also, instead of doing update position to this, it looked like there was an insert at that we could use. Insert at right here. Methods that change position, reordered list. So maybe we do that. Maybe we just say this dot insert at index plus 1. We can try this. And we also, I want this to stop spamming my console when I hover over it. This is so annoying. Okay, index. Sort right here. We can do, let's do like a data. Data colon this, comma. Wonder if it's like turbo colon false maybe? Does that cause it to stop being super annoying? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now I can actually click this. Then we can see what this is actually doing. Load, order, load. I'm willing to bet what's happening is because it's like responding on link update, it's probably like flooding the page after you click update. Link Twitter has been updated to position 5. So that probably happens, and then like all of this stuff gets spammed out because it's trying to render all of this stuff every time each of the updates happens, and then turbo fires off. I'm assuming. Okay, so what we want to do then, so it looks like this isn't working, right? Then we come up here and our index is grabbing current user.links.order by position ASC, which isn't what this is doing, right? But if I look at this, I thought we inserted the GitHub position at, or the GitHub link at position 1, right? Okay, let's try this. I'm gonna Alt-Shift+ to split my console. And I'll cd into code stream Linktree Tailwind, Rails C. Then we can zoom in and we can do both at the same time. So we'll do link equals link.last, link.name. This is our GitHub link. Link.insert at 1. Okay. Refresh the page. GitHub is now at the first position. Okay. So in theory, this should now be a sorted list. We go through each of the links. We inserted at that positions in the index plus 1. The index is going to be 0 by default, right? So we increment it by 1. Then this should work. But we're not inserting No, that makes sense. We're inserting the link just like we did over here, right? Because we did that. Huh. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Let's see. We have all of this. Let's come into the link.rb where we have all of these, and I'm gonna comment these out real quick. I'm gonna refresh because that'll stop all the turbo stuff from happening. And we can just kind of focus on what this is actually supposed to be doing. But of course it's still firing everything off. So maybe that's not what's causing it. We come in here, hit enter a bunch, click sort. Hello, Alexa. Hope you're doing well. I'm just playing around with the app finally after like 3 hours of being distracted. I think there was an attempt to stun lock me from doing any development today, but thankfully it seems to have failed. Let's see. Yeah, it's weird because if I run this, even over here, let me reload real quick. If I run this, come here, says he's on dinner time. So maybe that's why. Okay, so that's fine. And then I come over here and I refresh. That's like this. And I click on sort, and now Twitch is at the top. And I refresh. Hold on. Maybe it is doing something, but I'm doing this in the wrong way. The name. Link dot, what am I doing here? I'm doing link dot order. Current user dot links. Okay, so user equals user dot first, user dot links. Okay, so this user has Twitter, then this one, the Warzone, then YouTube. Okay, so let's grab these links, dot order by name ASC. That gives us Twitch, YouTube, GitHub. Why is this not? Oh, I bet that's why. Okay, so then we would have to... what would this be? Rails order lowercase string. Case insensitive order. I wonder if this is the problem. Oops, we have to order, right? Find all, I see. So instead of that, we want to order by this. Let's try this. Let's see if we can order by lower name. Okay, so we got G, T, H, T, W. Or sorry, TWITC, TWITT. Okay, so that makes sense. And then YouTube. Yeah, so I think this is how we have to do it. So that's my bad. I just had the wrong logic here. I'm gonna grab this. And order like this. Which should cause this to update as well. So let's come over here. Let's refresh, click sort. Refreshes us, and now we have an alphabetical list. Now we can come over to our links. We can undo all of these things. And then I'm going to like mess up the order a bit. And then you're sitting there like, gosh, I sure do wish I could do this and have everything in order. And you click the button and then ta-da, everything's in order. But I think you could also do this without having to do everything. I'm worried that might cause like multiple broadcasts. So we'll see. Instagram back in business. Oh boy. What do you got for me? Crying to yourself at 5 a.m. That's so relatable. This has literally been me like making these videos before, is just unbelievable frustrations when people are just starting to wake up. Oh, we got another one. Hold on. It's so funny how much of a universal experience that is. Yeah, true. Just sitting here like I got roasted for that earlier. Someone's like, maybe you shouldn't have turned your hobby into like a second job with the programming all the time. Because I was like, man, sometimes I just get so burned out with all the tutorial making. I'm like, no, that's not the lesson to take away from here. The lesson is I should make sure to keep it interesting to myself by branching out in ways that keeps it interesting. Like, you're not going to stop me from programming. That's the whole point of the job, is to have fun doing it. At least for me. I guess not for everyone. Okay, so that does that. But now what I want to think about, sorry, is if I could do all of those updates, maybe at once, and then do one singular update, maybe. So I'd like to be able to broadcast this without refreshing. Ethical advice. This is that Microsoft, that one Microsoft AI that got canceled because it, not like canceled publicly, although I'm sure that happened too. But they like literally internally canned it because they just couldn't get it to work. Can you make a phone template on that iframe? It doesn't look nice. Yeah, I probably should at some point, because right now it's literally just like a bordered thing. So it'd probably make more sense to put like an actual phone around it and then put like the iframe inside of that image. So yeah, I'll add that to the list. Where is it? To do. Change iframe border to be an actual phone. This one needs audio, and it's the best. Oh, hold on. That's oh my god, what is it? What am I thinking of? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh man, I was just thinking, I was just singing it to myself earlier. What was? All right, hold on. I have to cook. That reminded me of something, but I can't think of what. And I had it like playing on my Spotify. Oh my god. I went back and I played it like 3 times today. What am I thinking of? Oh. 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 I found this on the for the mobile template. I really need to stop dragging the windows because that's what crashed the stream last time. I have to be careful about that. Yeah, hopefully YouTube lets you post it. Because YouTube it'll like, it doesn't tell me if there's something that I should allow. Like Twitch sometimes tells me there's something I should allow, and then sometimes it's just like, actually this reply is just gone. But YouTube might hide it. So if it does that, let me know, and then maybe I can look at like how to change the settings. Check device mockups in Flowbyte. Device mockups, Flowbyte. Okay. Let me see. Oh wait, actually, hold on. I'm gonna test if I have the ability to post a link in stream. on another account. Just make sure I mute myself so I don't have to listen to myself. Let me grab this link, I guess. Let me see if that pops up. Okay, yeah, so something in YouTube chat is just straight up like it's eating the links, so people in YouTube chat can't share links for some reason. Oh my god, okay. All right, let me take a side quest. YouTube live stream, enable links in chat. Let me figure out if there's a way to enable this real quick. You need to be a moderator for the chat. Moderators can add links to the chat by typing the link in the chat box. Okay, so is there no way to post? Is there no way for other people to post links? Maybe what I have to do then is have like a Discord channel that you can go share links on. Because like I understand for like normal streamers, but like for developers, you're always going to be sharing resources, so it's a little weird to not allow that. Okay, well, let me add this to my like streaming to-do list. I feel like my to-do list keeps getting longer. Allow links in YouTube chat. Except for me, I only sent you. No. That's part of the fun though. I don't know. It's just frustrating because like right now there's only like 10 people watching. It's fine. I can moderate it. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that deep. It's just a little frustrating when they make that decision for you. Ooh, this is cool. Yeah, something like this would be nice because this makes it look a lot more polished. But then the problem is then I get roasted for using Flowbyte. Oh my god. That's painful. Okay. Although to be fair, that is what it feels like. Let me see. It's got the images in it, but maybe we just grab one of these. Let me find one that I like. Let's just grab this one. What does this rely on? It's got images. But I don't really see anything here that's too Flowbyte-y. So maybe I can get away with just pasting this in. Oh yeah, we'll be fine. So we can use this. We don't even need to use Flowbyte for this. And we get rid of the images. We put the iframe inside of it. Like this. Then we come over to iframe preview. Like this. Put this in here. This is going to look a little ridiculous, but bear with. We get rid of the styling. Like that. And then we can get rid of this, I think. We can get rid of this. Okay. Like that. But then we'd have to change the width. So that one I'll have to come in here and change a bit. Maybe like 400 width. Like that. Let's put the turbo frame outside of all of this. Okay, and then let me full screen this again. Oh, I see. More. Hold on. Let me do it like this. We click on it this way so that we can actually see it. Our house is looked at by you, the buyer, the bank loan, the insurance evaluator, by the municipality for tax. Dude, this is, yeah, no kidding. This was basically what. Oh, geez. This is basically what's happening around my area right now. Getting a bunch of people are very unhappy with their property taxes going up. So, like, understandably, of course. Even if you understand the necessity of it, it's still, of course, like, you know, it hurts when you see it. And then this one has like a different width, right? So why is this one only 272? 400? 600? Unless this causes it to like completely overflow, maybe? Yeah, okay. So we need this to be 28 smaller than whatever we set it to. So we set this to 300. Like that. And now we got kind of a phone looking thing here. The only thing is we'd have to change the scroll bars, I guess, to make them look a little bit better. And this is still kind of annoying. So I have to figure out what's causing this horizontal scroll bar, because this is... I don't want to just hide the scroll bar horizontally, because that'd be weird. Do you understand Spanish? I took 1 semester of Spanish in high school, so no. I took Japanese in college, but even there, that's like, you take it for a semester and it doesn't really do much. It looks much better. Okay, well, I'm glad you're happy. There's still more that I would want to do here, but yeah, I do agree that this looks better than the other border. So it actually looks like a phone. And also, thank you for sharing the link, because that is very helpful. Or sharing where to find this, because I was wondering how to do this. I had a feeling it would just be like an image crop, but this also makes sense. And it's really cool that you can do this just with like, I don't know, just a couple of divs. I guess that's getting me to convert to the Tailwind side. Okay, so we have that. And then I want to come into here. Or no, back over to here. I think we did this. This is working now, right? So now you can sort your links, and this will just update. We were talking about turbo, so maybe that's the thing that I add on here is like make turbo work. Add sort links, sort button working without refreshing would be nice. Maybe change it like that. Because then you could like click it and it'll update this, but then it doesn't fire off like 5 different updates. That'd be weird. That'd obviously be not ideal. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, one of my friends teaches.
Here's $5.
Oh, I'm not homeless. I'm a teacher.
It's $10.
This is unfortunately very accurate for the American education system, at least. Like, memes aside, yeah, some of them could definitely be paid more. But again, like, you can go back to the property tax one. You see that you get hit everywhere, and then you understand why some people are hesitant. Whether or not you agree with it, different story, of course. Okay, I think that we can move this. And also, I don't think this needs to be a button long term, but come back into the index file. I think for right now, it's fine for this to stay a button. And then the admin links happen right here. Oops. So what we would want to do then is set up some kind of like row and column thing here to push this over, I think is how we'll do that. Maybe. Don't know. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, so let's grab, I think it's in our form page, which is our appearance page, actually. Appearance. In here, we have the profiles form. And then this has, I think, all this stuff, but I think we might have changed how this works. We did. Okay, so wait, where am I looking? I'm looking in the link itself, right? The admin link. Admin link right here. Oh boy, a Fireship meme. These are always dangerous. Oh my god. What a guy. That's me coding at the beach. Jesus. That man is what's he at, like, what's Fireship's channel at now? Every time he posts like an AI video, I'm always just amazed at how large his channel's grown from like back when he used to do Firebase videos. Like this guy, he's out of this world. Yeah. 2.8 million. The man has reach now. Okay. Anyways, we come in here and we come into the links. Is it not the URL form? We want to come into the link actions. Okay. Link actions. This has the grid columns that I wanted. Do rows 2, or we could do columns 2. I think we do columns 2 back in our index. So we do this here, maybe? Let's see. Honestly, do this. Close the div. Refresh. Causes it to resize. Or then you could do a div here, right? With a class equal to whatever we have in here. Or no, sorry. Let's close this. And close this. We want to come in here. Oh, we need 2 different items. So we could actually just do a div like this, I think. And that'll push it over. Like that. Now the question is, do we just put this in the form so it's like on the same line, or do we leave it like this? Because ideally, eventually this will change to like a drop down. But for right now, I think this is fine as like a, I don't know, just a button right now that just forcibly sorts everything. So like if I mess this order up, we click sort, gives us this. And then later we can do a drop down. I think that's fine. Okay, and then we still have to figure this out because this is frustrating me. So let's come into here / Dean. Oops. Here / Dean. There we go. Okay. Because even here, I have like this weird overflow. I wonder if that's why. It gets rid of, I think, some of it maybe. We have this right here. I am back, can't sleep, and yeah, so you're back, and Kamir is still here, sending links, trying to distract me. There's like a concerted effort happening on Twitch right now to get me to not be coding. I feel like this is very quickly going to turn into like YouTube versus Twitch type of thing, where YouTube wants to see something practical and Twitch just wants to see me sit here and be stun locked. Why use Windows 11? Did they fix those dual context menu? Oh wait, no, I don't think they did. If what you're talking about is what I think you're talking about, where yeah, if you right click and then you got to show more options to get to the actual right click. I don't know. I do this so little that I completely forget this is even a thing. And like the only time I need it is if I'm going to like my display settings, I guess. Doesn't that bother you? Yeah, but like I never do it, so I never get bothered by it. The only time I do it is when I go into like adjust my resolution, and I do that so little that I'm like, oh, right, this is the thing. And then I just move on with my life. There's other things with Windows that bother me far more than that. Let me clear this because we actually don't need this console anymore. Oh, right, I was doing this. Also, how do you switch between two instances of the same app? What do you mean two instances of the same app? Like tabbing between, oh, like, hold on, like this? You gotta like hover over it and then switch. Can't have long bars in the taskbar. I don't know. I think they just prefer to do this stacked approach. Then you're almost always like, when I'm streaming, it's kind of annoying, or when I'm doing YouTube, but like I'm almost always just gonna be tabbing between stuff, and I can tab and just quickly click is how I do it. I just have to like do it differently when I'm doing it on stream. Doesn't that slow you down? It depends. When you're going here to click, yeah, this will slow you down. But if you're tabbing, it really doesn't matter. Because like when I'm working and I'm comfortable, I can tab and then I know where like my chat is or where something is, and then I can just say like, okay, I need to go here. So I tab and my mouse is already where I need to click. Changing instances from the task. Yeah, it's not great, but who cares? Oh, right. Control-Shift-I. Over here. It's unfortunate because it is a little bit annoying, but then when you think about it, it's more annoying to not be able to do anything with your friends if they want to play games. Okay, so let me see, because one of these has to be doing this overflow, right? I'm just going to start removing these until we figure out which one it is. Oh, is it the W screen? Maybe that's why. Okay, well, that was easy. Control-Shift-F, W-screen, which is right here. What if I get rid of this? And I refresh. No more horizontal scroll bar. Let's go. Okay. Over here. Refresh. And there we go. Look at that. Now, the only other thing I'd want to do here is change the scroll bar, because the scroll bar definitely still looks a little bit too Windows for a phone. Yeah, pretty much every decision that man makes is to stir some kind of drama because he's realized that causes people to stay on the platform. Because you got to think about it like this. Like, he treats Twitter like it's now an entertainment-centered platform, so everything he does has to just be like the biggest thing that's ever happened on the internet. Which is why I always find it funny when he starts talking about like streaming Diablo on Twitter, because then it's like, I don't know, he goes into content streamer mode where he's just, it's clearly not there to farm anything. He just starts playing the game. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I have some thoughts about that, but whatever. Okay, so how do I, like Tailwind custom scroll bar? Change the style. Let's see. Bro has too much power. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends if people like actually listen to him. Most of the time, I think I follow him. I see it on my timeline and I'm like, okay, we're doing this again. Either that or it just appears. I don't know. I must follow him because I see it sometimes, and I always stick very specifically on my following side of the website, which is like all software developers or like Twitch streamers or like YouTube stuff. But every once in a while I see one of his things. I'm just like, okay, we're doing this again. We're just farming. Dude, that's so real though. Oh. Oh, okay. It's just a summary of their outage earlier. Is there any way to not lose your shit when people do this stuff? No. I think it just comes with seeing it enough times and then realizing. There was like a piece of advice I saw at one point, which was like, not everything needs a reaction. And ever since I read that, I was like, whoa, that actually makes so much sense. And then I just stopped reacting to so much of it. Going through PRs now. One of my friends wanted me to do a reacting to pull requests type thing on stream. Because when we used to work together, it was like a meme to just like meme about pull requests. He's like, yeah, you should do like a PR review stream where you just go through people's PRs and then, because like I got nitpicked really hard. Wait, do we have mods here? My message. Yeah, so like they will sometimes Twitch like holds it and tells me, do you want to allow this message? And then other times it just removes it, and I don't even. I see that something was there and then it's gone. Hey Ashish, how are you doing? We're just we're slowly coding while we talk about, I don't know, whatever we're talking about. While we get derailed from coding, we're slowly coding, I guess. I think I am on VPN, maybe that's why. Yeah, I don't know. It could be like the site-wide filters or like the chat filters or something. Let's see. Yeah, I like pop something up, but then sometimes I don't see it. So I'm wondering if when I don't see it, the site has a filter that overrides my ability to say allow or disallow. Okay, anyways. So we got rid of this, which is good. Because now our little preview. In summary, the stream is Dean trying to code and me sending shit to distract him. Ever used Go? I think I've used it for like 1 or 2 videos, but I haven't actually like used it to make something yet. Which means it's going on the list. All right, let's come over here. Let me add it to the things I need to learn. Which is, there it is. Okay, and then learn Go. Learn Go. Hey Go compiler, I need to test my project. Variable declared but not used. Don't worry, it's only for testing. I'll use it later. Oh, jeez. Is it that bad when you're using Go? Is it just sitting there like no unused variables allowed ever? Do you watch Theo? Okay, so I used to watch him, but then I realized that he was doing that thing that I said I tried to do with my videos, which worked very well for him, which is just like, you can disable it. Okay. I don't know. It becomes very like reactionary type content. And that just personally, like, it doesn't appeal to me. It's like sitting there watching, I don't know, like if I were to sit here and just, we would go watch YouTube videos and then we would just stop and it'd be like, okay, but what are your thoughts about, I don't know, TypeScript and how bad it is. And then you just watch a video, you give an incredibly divisive take, and then people go, all right, clip that, send it to Twitter, and then get DHH upset. This guy will never get to code. Yeah, I'm being stun locked. They know what they're up to. They're trying really hard. Let me see. Hold on. Let me look at this. Get status. So I've changed. Some of these are probably from the other day, but I've changed some files today. Is Theo just about creating drama? I don't think it's necessarily about creating drama. It's just like that's the type of content that his audience is interested in, which is like he reacts to it, he gives his opinion, and he's very, I don't know, he's more, what's the word for it? He's like willing to assert his, he's like more assertive with his opinion. I don't think I have that same assertiveness with my opinions, and more so I'm just like, dude, I don't care what you use. If you want to go like write everything from scratch, write C, raw C, because you think it's the most performant thing in the world, go for it. I just personally wouldn't advise someone to do that, but like more power to you if that's what you want to do. But later on as thumbnails, well, yeah, and that's like as your content broadens out, it's going to start to lose appeal to, or at least I personally think like it'll start to lose appeal to your initial core audience unless you're very careful. For most people, they're probably not too concerned with it. And that's where, like, if you started watching his content for one reason, you might realize that you start to drift away from it as he starts to, like, diversify. If Java's so good at garbage collection, why does it collect itself? Yeah, we used to send these memes to each other all the time when we were in, like, a class that required Java. We'd just be sitting there, like, making fun of Java the whole time. Okay. Let me come over here. See. I'm really excited for, I guess, how this project ends up being received, because this is definitely something I've spent quite a bit of time on compared to anything else that I've done for the channel. What's the C bindings in Ruby? Can I use Rust for some gem to get performance boost? I don't know what they were talking about, the Go Rails server. Oops, bin/dev. There we go. Refresh. I want to make sure that, let me do this. Test case create link. That creates it. Sort. It might also been, how long have you been building this app? I don't know. We started this like last week, I think. It's like a weekish. But when you add in like the cumulative hours of streaming and working on it, we've probably been working on this for like 30, 40 hours maybe. Minus whatever time we spent like reacting to stuff, of course. Or minus time I spend like interacting with chat. I shouldn't even say reacting to stuff. The thing I'm really reacting to is just chat. Okay, so we have, I think, just about everything. I still need to figure out, oh, we wanted to do the social icons they have is one thing we got to do. And then the other one was the themes, right? Because we had the themes in the other version of the chat, or the other version of this app. So like if you come over to Linktree/admin, they have the ability to go through and select the CSS themes right here, which just like changes your background, maybe changes how your buttons look a little bit. We had something like that. Have you ever faced performance wall in Rails and how you've resolved them? I haven't personally run into performance walls just because I haven't scaled it enough. Aside from that, like I've never run into something that's like a performance wall. And honestly, I think it would be hard to find one until you actually were dealing with like a lot of users. I think in a lot of cases, that's just something that people like to complain about, but I don't see the issue largely. But then if you scale any tech, you're going to start to run into like similar types of problems. Oh wait, I want to go to Linktree demo. Solid cache versus Redis. I feel like it's still Redis, but I know they're doing a lot of stuff with Rails 8. Maybe that we get some cool stuff out of it. I don't know. It's really going to depend on how they handle it, and if it ends up like an action cable WebSocket type thing, or if it's like an actual like any cable type WebSocket that's useful. No offense to action cable. It's just like I think every time someone sees me use it, they're surprised it works for anything. Okay, I want to come in here to the themes, which means we have to generate this themes again. But the one thing I have to keep in mind is because we're using Tailwind, we have to change how we're doing the themes, right? Because with Bootstrap, we had like the ability to just very quickly change it with a couple of variables. Here, because we're using Tailwind, I think I'm gonna have to go through and actually make the dark mode like a dark mode. I can't just say set BS dark mode and call it a day. If you look at any cable, excuse me, it's I guess now they have like a pro thing, but you can see here like 4 times less RAM for like 20K connections. So it scales better, basically. And there's like some other reasons why you might want to use it, but that's kind of like the main point is just, yeah, this could be better. This could be a lot better. And then there's like, issues with the connection dropping and persistence problems. However, this is also an issue. So like if you got a small app under like 10,000 connections, I wouldn't be worried about this yet, because I mean, yikes. And that's always something where you can always switch later if you need to. I think they blocked those sites in Pakistan. I can't download more RAM. It's probably like the most linked website in one of my Discord servers is just the go download more RAM 5-head website. Okay, so we want a Rails G scaffold. I want to generate this themes thing because I think overall the themes stay the same. But I need to make sure that we're actually doing this. Let me come in here. Full screen this. We'll look at this, and we're looking for theme. Okay. So we have to add these two to the user. How easily can I replace action cable with any cable? Is it easily replaceable? It's not terribly difficult to replace it from what I recall. Now it might be different at like scale, but let me come to the any cable website again. So they say right here, of course, this is, it can be like a drop-in solution. Let me see. But there's only like a couple settings you had to change when you were using any cable. And pretty much everything else stayed the same. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Rails G scaffold theme. We need a name, a theme underscore type, both strings, premium of type Boolean. We'll leave the premium off for now because I didn't use it last time. CSS value, like that, I think. We use action cable just for WebSockets, etc. Right? Yeah. So it's used for like WebSockets. If you want real-time chat, you're going to use it for some stuff. I used it for like a drawing app. I'm pretty sure when you run the turbo stuff, if I run a bin/dev real quick, or refresh, I run my migrations. If I come over here and I don't know, like I'm going to sort, right? Let me see. I'm looking, I see all of the stuff. So you can see right here, git/cable. So even for all of the TurboStream stuff that's happening, it's still getting the WebSocket and it's going to the /cable endpoint. So it like Rails is actually using it, and you can see it works really well when it's properly configured and everything. But there's like, there's other options that are slightly more performant that you can use as like a drop-in solution. So yeah, you'd like throw any cable in there, and then if you wanted to continue using like your turbo streams or whatever, or if you had like a real-time app, like the one we did with the chess Rails real-time. This one, I think. Wait, hold on. It's going to be one of these, but it's going to be the longer one, I think. This one. So something like this, where you have like two players that can play a game of chess against each other. You'd probably want to use like action cable, so you don't have to refresh each time one of the player makes a move. Instead, you would go through and the moves would just be updated in real time. Which also has to update like your PGN and other stuff. So there's a bunch of information you need to broadcast back and forth. And there's the link to the video if anyone's interested. Okay, so we generated our themes. Now let's come into our console again, because now we have to generate the other stuff right here. So we have to say our users, Rails G migration, G migration, add themes to users. We want a profile theme ID of type integer and a admin theme ID of type integer. Like that. Rails DB migrate, and then we can do a bin/dev again. So a nice thing about streaming is I can do this stuff a little bit faster than I do it in the videos. So I have to sit there and like wait for the commands to finish to start typing and all this other stuff. Memory consumption of async. Oh boy, admire C. Some programs consumed little over 100 megabytes, but others reached almost 3 gigabytes at 10K connections. Yeah, and what did we say action cable was? It was like 1.5 gigs or something for 10K. So when you're looking at this, action cable was closer to like the almost reached this much amount, which is kind of scary. Unfortunately, those programs were quite complex and differed also in features, so it'd be hard to compare them directly and draw some meaningful conclusions, as that wouldn't be an apple-to-apple comparison. So you create the synthetic benchmark. Okay, let's see. So we got Rust, we have Go, we have Java, C#, Node, Python, Elixir. And then of course, because we're like, I don't know, the black sheep of the family, we don't have a Ruby version. So we'll just have to pretend that we're on this list. Okay, I created 3 programs in Rust. The first one uses traditional threads. Here's the core of it. The other 2, excuse me, use async with Tokio, Tok.io, and the other one async std. Here's the core of the Tok.io version. Okay. Okay, so they're basically doing the same thing across all of these. Async await. Okay. Same test environment. Oh my. Yeah, this is... Okay. Because some runtimes require some memory for themselves, let's first only launch only one task. Makes sense. So this gives you like your bare minimum of, I'm running this environment, this is how much it needs, right? Okay. We can see there are only certainly two groups of programs. Go and Rust compiled statically to native binaries need very little memory. C# memory pool allocator is amazing. It does surprise me that .NET somehow has the worst footprint, but I guess they can be tuned to some settings. Peak memory needed to launch 10,000 tasks. So this was around 130, I guess, for, yeah, 131 to 130. That's wild. This is there's like effectively no difference. And like, yeah, the rest of these are interesting too, but the C# is 99.4, 57.4. Oh, geez. Poor Java. Okay. What's Python looking at? Okay. And this is true for Java threads, which indeed consumed about 250. Native Linux threads used from Rust seem to be lightweight enough that 10K threads, the memory consumption is still lower than the idle memory consumption of many other runtimes. Signal R is something I want to try for a long time. Another surprise here is Go. Go routines are supposed to be very lightweight, but they actually consume more than 50% of RAM required by Rust threads. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this basically didn't change it, right? Pre-allocated memory, or its idle memory use is so high that 10K tasks is just too few to conclude from. I could not launch 100 threads on my system, so the threads benchmark had to be excluded. Okay. And yeah, we're still around that mark. On Linux.net likely cheats because its memory use still didn't go up. Had to double check if it really launches the right number of tasks, but indeed it does, and it still exists after about 10 minutes. It cheats. You can't just say it cheats. What a conclusion. Hey, Edwin. How are you doing? We're just looking at like a performance comparison. Let me post this because this is actually interesting. I'm going to share this with everyone. So this is like different performance benchmarks for launching a set number of threads across a bunch of different languages. It's funny though. It cheats. I give up. It's cheating. All right, let's go extreme now. So now we're at 1 million. Elixir just said no, thank you. I'm done here. Yeah, I guess you could increase it, but like why? Okay. Finally, see the increase in memory consumption of a C# program, but still very competitive. You managed to slightly beat out one of the Rust runtimes. Yeah, Go is having a hard time too. Elixir is built to manage a lot of concurrent tasks, but it was the only one crashing. It is interesting that Java is now like kind of middle of the pack, as opposed to if we come back here where it was very heavily in last place. But I guess that shouldn't be too surprising. Still very competitive. Remained unbeatable. This isn't surprising after seeing how it did at 100K tasks. I really need to look at Rust. Java also uses a memory pool allocator mechanism, but C# is so much better. Yeah, and that's why we ended up going to C# over Java. Among other reasons. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen the licensing issues around using the JDK. Clients weren't too happy about that. And understandably so. It's a messy situation. Okay, so we actually have this working now. This is also going to go on my to-do list because I wanted to look at Odin project. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do like a dedicated stream where I just go through the Odin project the same way I went through Next.js. Will we ever have bun but for Ruby? I don't know if we'll have bun but for Ruby, but we do have bun with Rails. I don't know if everyone's aware of that, but you can run bun with Rails. It's like, let me just see. It's obviously not the same as saying like bun for Ruby, but you can do Rails new demo -j bun and then -c Tailwind, for example. And then assuming you set up your chruby to actually run. Yeah, like faster Ruby, yeah. But like if you weren't aware, if anyone's not aware, you can just do this. And this should just work. For like adding bun to to a new project. So yeah, that's, we can CD into whatever I just made. CD demo. Was it bin/dev? There you go. So this is running bun now with Tailwind. So now if I go over to localhost port 3000, you just have bun, which is, it's also a nice dev experience. cd.rm-rf demo. Read that Shopify had some ideas to move to JRuby in the future. Oh dear. You might have just caused like a massive panic. Really? Moving to JRuby. JRuby Shopify. Let's see what they have to say about it. Interesting. Still can't believe how Bun's raw performance is compared to compiled language. Zig is doing a great job. Yeah, that's another one. This is one I keep seeing brought up. I need to learn this at some point. I'm gonna gradually grow this up to an outrageous size. They're testing it with different apps right now, but they consider moving into JRuby if it works well. Gotcha. But far in the future, I guess. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and usually you want to look to them and see what they're doing is a good indicator for where Rails is going to go. It's Ruby in the JVM is JRuby. Oh no. Learn Zig and create bun for Ruby. If there was one thing I could contribute, it would be a faster way to build and install Ruby and manage Ruby on your system. Don't get me wrong, chruby is fine, but every time I have to install a new version of Ruby and I'm stuck waiting 15 minutes for that thing to like finish doing whatever it needs to do, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, oh, please, just work. Oh, a bun, but name it run. That'd be funny. Any recommendations on Kafka? I'm going to say no, just because I have no idea what this is. Kafka is a Ruby and Rails multi-threaded efficient Kafka processing framework. Really? Okay, hold on. You have... Momentum Traders has just... You've just given me a golden ticket. This seems really interesting to look at, though. Okay, I'm adding this. I should have started streaming so long ago. I get so many more like recommendations from you guys while I'm doing this. I'm learning so much about like everything that I could be doing with Rails. Before it was like I'd occasionally leave like a community post and I get a couple of viewers that would like leave a reply. But here it's just like it's a constant stream of stuff that I just never even would have thought to look into. Isn't it just compiling some native stuff? But yeah, it takes really long, especially on Windows. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. But it's so frustrating sometimes because I just sit there and I'm like, dude, this is taking so long. Every time I have to like pull down a different version of Ruby, I'm like, all right, it's time to go grab a coffee or something. Go grab a water. Go for a walk. Ask Rust devs about compilation times. But yeah. So Kafka I got to look at. And then if Shopify's talking about JRuby, I might have to take a look at that as well. Oh, I also have to keep this playing, otherwise my chat pauses. It's supposed to be an alternative to Java's Kafka. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Maybe I do like a Java week for the channel. Do like JRuby, we do Kafka. Then I trick everyone into watching a Java tutorial where they watch me like write 100 lines of code to say hello world. We have Ruby on the JVM at home. Scala. That's funny. Oh my God. Didn't you mention Scala? Oh, what do you call it if Rails fails to scale fails? That's terrible. 1 minute from setup to publishing and consuming messages. Prereqs is Kafka running. Okay, so you get it running. You add it, install it, dispatch a message in the console. Run the server and see the consumption magic happen. How does async and how does await and async work in Ruby on Rails? JVM is actually too easy to start on. Async await Rails. Hold on. I love it when they just send links. That's literally not how you're supposed to use that website, but okay. Instead of using public static void main string args, you would do void main. I fixed it in the new... Oh, wait, hold on. Fixed it in the new Java. Now hello world program is much shorter. But they left system.out.println, which is like the main culprit there. So wait, your main method, hold on. If I'm reading this right, your main method is now void main. Void main. Which is definitely more of like a C or a C++ like definition as opposed to it's just is everything public static or is it just the main method that's public static by default? Because the main one. Okay, gotcha. So it's just like this one's treated differently. Okay. I don't know how I feel about that. Like on the one hand, it's nice that it's shorter, but on the other hand, it's weird that it treats that one differently than everything else, at least to me. It's just for new people to feel better. That's what it feels like. Because like in the grand scheme of things, let's think about like, you know, from a work perspective, how often you're honestly writing a new main method signature. But yeah, I guess if it helps people, it helps people. It probably would have made it a lot easier to teach it in class. Because like when I took Java, my professor at the time was like, all right, so what I'm about to type is, it's going to seem like magic. I'm going to need you to not pay attention to it and just trust me on this. And he typed the main method signature and he's like, we're going to worry about all this in like 2 weeks. Just forget about it for right now. So I guess that's a better way to teach it maybe. Let me see. I have to like, oh, here we go. I think Sidekick is what most people use for the async await. Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess another question then is, maybe I have to go look at Java again. When I test something, I just do psvm, built-in shortcut in IntelliJ, and it creates the main method for me. Okay, like I don't necessarily have to test on stream, but like you're not going back to Java. Well, now I'm curious. Like, is it a are they doing that? And can I like then change the main method back to public static void main, or is it just like that has to be the main method signature and that's specifically what it's looking for? It's more like morbid curiosity than anything else for me. Although your visceral reaction makes me kind of want to go do it. Just show up and be like, all right, class, today, I think you can change it. Java is like Windows in terms of backwards compatibility. That's what I would assume, because that was where my next question was going to be. Like, is that, because that would be like a major maintenance hassle for some of the products that I've worked on, where it was like more than one main method, and they would have to go through and change how all of that works then if it wasn't public static anymore. If you touch Java, I'm gonna give your IP. Oh my God. Hold on. Oh, dang. Okay. Yeah, I don't even have it installed anymore. Do I have the Java compilers installed over here? Yeah, there you go. I touched Java. I ran the javac command. I'm on a list somewhere now. It's over. Now you can uninstall. Yeah, I've done enough. That was my intro to, what was it? Object-oriented programming 1. I had to run all of my Java compilation commands from the command line. I wasn't allowed to press the play button. And I like include a screenshot of me typing the command out. And then when we moved over to JUnit and JUnit testing, I then had to write the JUnit tests in addition to the regular compile command. So I had to like manually compile Java and JUnit. And that was like, it was an open book, open note exam in that class every time. And there was always a card I had with me that was just the entire JUnit like run command in case I had to do that in the exam. And let me tell you, that's just not, that's not the way to like teach people. Like, it definitely caused me to appreciate what the run button does, but having that panic going into the exams was a little bit strange. But that was also the class where we like literally showed up with I think 2 wheelbarrows full of notes, because he said you can take anything, even a wheelbarrow, if it'll fit through the door. So we like specifically went out, bought 2 wheelbarrows to show up to our finals with. One of the funniest things we ever did. But like, we didn't have enough notes to fill them up. So instead, we just put like a bunch of food and stuff at the bottom of the wheelbarrow, and then we covered it with like papers so it looked like notes. And then we walked into his class for the final, and he was looking at the wheelbarrows like, what are you guys doing? I was like, after 2 semesters of you telling me I could take in a wheelbarrow, I decided to go out and buy a wheelbarrow. And also, he's got one too. It was a very, very interesting class. Oh my God, what's going on over here? Can deliver the message, send them his IP. I don't know if you can target with IP, like launching nukes to a specific IP. Well, the problem used to be like, I would, when I played Halo, I would have to, I'd have to be very careful like who I played with, because people in like the higher rank lobbies would, they'd find your IP, or they'd like try and figure out which one is your IP in the lobby, and they would sit there and just constantly kick you off. Like host boot you is what they called it. So like at one point, one of my friends would play with someone who was like known to do this, and I was like, dude, I can't join your lobby. That guy's he's gonna kick me offline all the time whenever I get matched with him at matchmaking. Which isn't quite a nuke, but like from the perspective of playing the game, it might as well have been a nuke. The idea that most apps need Maven, Gradle, Bazel to build a Java app because it's not built in. If you want to build a fat jar, single jar file is scary. Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff. Can you enter this site, please? Yeah, that seems totally not suspicious at all. We ran into a lot of issues with like just a lot of stuff with the Java environment in general when we were trying to use it. Which, thank God, I got there like as they were planning on shifting over to .NET. But it was such a nightmare because there was also some stuff where like you needed to have a license to use some of the like packages that they were using. And I don't know, in any other environment, it's like I add an environment key or something and then I'm good to go. But there they were like, you have to go talk to Jim and Jim's got to go talk to Bob, and then Bob will give you the key that you then have to put into the package somewhere, because we don't put it up in our internal repository for some reason, because we're only allowed like to run the installation code like 3 times per month or something. You're just sitting there like, and you paid how much for this? Like tens of thousands of dollars for this license. Okay. And you go over to .NET and they're like, okay, so anyways, you install this little like bean or whatever they call it, and it just magically does it all. I think I work for this company. Yeah, right. It's unfortunately a very relatable experience for a lot of us. Yeah, I don't know. It was really frustrating initially because who was it? There was someone on Twitter that posted this earlier where they were like talking about like onboarding documentation, how it's important so that you don't start at a company where you're just told to like go learn how the app works. But the company I worked at, it was like a running meme that the way that they would determine if you would last at the company was they would sit you down in front of this product and say, get this product up and running. And then if you couldn't get up and running in like 2 weeks, you probably wouldn't make it. And that was basically like the entire experience as a junior there, because there was like no one that knew how most of the stuff worked, because a lot of the software would get acquired from someone else. And then the previous company, the reason why they lost that software and were no longer maintaining it was mostly because they weren't very good at, any of the stuff that makes it accessible. And then they throw it in front of you and go, okay, figure it out. And like my team kind of became known as the team that just like figures it out. But there's a lot of that where you're just like, all right, I got to go talk to Jim. Jim said I have to go talk to Bob. Bob said he doesn't have the key. What do I do, Jim? And then Jim's like, oh, go talk to Alice instead. You go talk to Alice and she's like, oh, you're going to hate this, but we've already hit our quota of 3 downloads this month. And you're like, oh, okay. We work for a corporation. Well, if we want to use an external library, we need to write an ADR document. Forced to write uber performant code for internal usage, probably 300 users, and it's basically a CRUD app. Yeah, that sounds very familiar. It is like you're plotting and charting all these like performance metrics. I can't really say too much, but like ultimately your user base ends up being a very small set of devices. When you actually run the numbers, you're like, oh, I'm crunching out a couple percent of performance for a couple hundred or maybe a couple thousand devices here. And if you were to come into like the web world and say something like that, they'd be laughing at you. They're like, you don't need to worry about things scaling to 3,000 users. But some products, yeah, that's a major concern. Let me see. Tips to rank up to senior dev. Usually when you start moving up towards senior, it's probably going to be less about your own code and more just about how you help other people with what they need to do. So it's more like interpersonal, like soft skills as opposed to the hard skills. Because I've seen some pretty bad code come out of senior devs. There's really not like, I don't know. I don't really have any actionable advice for you there. It's more just you kind of get a feel for what a senior dev is as you like get experience. Like of course there's like, problems that you probably wouldn't give to a junior dev. But like you're going to have a pretty good barometer for that yourself, where you're going to look at your own work and you can say, okay, well, this is something that's kind of hard for me. And it's not hard for him. But at one point you're going to realize that there's no longer a him it's not hard for. That's usually when you're close to like the senior level, where you're just sitting there like, oh, I can actually do this. This isn't a problem. And when you move up past that, then you're like, then you're looking at like less, even more or less than more or less English. Your problems go from like managing problems almost to managing people, and then you do a little code on the side, and then no one looks at the code you write. Like not to bully like some of the people that would have been like the equivalent of a staff engineer, but like, dude, I don't know what they were working on, or I do, but it didn't work, and it wasn't important to anything except for what they thought they needed to do, and it never saw the light of day, and I'm pretty sure it never made the company any money. sometimes you would honestly sit there and go, why did you make this? So I guess if you're in a position where you're making stuff and people are going, why did you make this? You're probably ready for staff engineer at some companies, I guess. I shouldn't say all, but there's definitely some of that. Today I was told by a senior dev to explain in the document I wrote what is GC because our architect may not know that. Fantastic. I don't know what you say to that, honestly. Like at that point, maybe you just nod your head and you go, oh, okay. Well, we'll see. I might go over. The stream might go a little longer today. Let me see. Yeah, like because I worked with like government contractors, a lot of it becomes like the running joke is like you need to attach a whole spreadsheet with acronym lists. And we created like an internal wiki where we had like a whole page just dedicated to like the acronyms that get thrown around. And then when you couple that with like software, sometimes you're just sitting there and you're like, I don't know if this is the military acronym or if this is the software acronym for this. And that's where you end up having to specify. But I feel like if you're sending GC to the architect, they should probably know what that is. But yeah, maybe they're just trying to make it accessible. I don't know. That could also be it. But the important part is if I cd into our Tailwind project, or sorry, our Linktree project, I have stuff that I can push up. Git checkout. I don't know what we'll call this. We could say something like this is sort button. Sort button. We can do a git add dot git commit -m. Added sort and cleaned up iframe. Git push. And we can grab this origin and do that. How soon will you land a Rails job so you can get us in? Oh my God. Yeah, that's on the list. Get some experience and I can come out here and be like, you guys don't understand what it's like in the industry, man. I've been an industry Rails dev for 5 minutes. I'm actually an expert now. And then you guys get to deal with like .NET Dean, the guy that doesn't have the imposter syndrome that I have when I do Rails stuff. And you got to deal with me when I think I know what I'm doing, which is insufferable. Like I was probably not some people's favorite person in meetings when it came to like actual software architecture, as opposed to just like a specific problem with like a framework. Because I was very much willing to say like this does not make sense from a theoretical aspect. Why are we even pretending this makes sense? Why are we entertaining this? And in a lot of cases, you're getting into disagreements over stuff that's not necessarily people's domain. And then you end up having to say, okay, like, look, a good example of this was creating our own like process runner or something, right? Which is something that, if you're not familiar, like the Quartz process runner. So Quartz handles this in quite a few different languages. And one of the points of discussion was like, should we make our own process runner? And what it became like this back and forth. We had like 6 months to deliver this product. And someone who outranked me at the time by like 3 or 4 levels wanted to make our own process runner. And I was like, look, we have one guy's worth of bandwidth here. If it were that easy to make your own Quartz process runner, why are there not more Quartz process runners? Like, surely if one junior dev can do this in 6 months, there would be more than this. It's probably more difficult than just saying, let's go roll our own solution. And it went back and forth until eventually someone else got roped in who was at the same level as the person that I was having this disagreement with through a third party. And then the other person came in and they were like, okay, but why are there only like 2 or 3 solutions we could be choosing here? If there's only that many, then maybe the reason why there's not that much competition is because it's kind of hard to do and you're trying to get a junior dev to do this. I was like, hey, that's what I said. And then they agreed that we should just stick to using what you can use in like .NET or whatever we were using. But man, the victory I felt on the inside, like my own self-justified ego, I was sitting there like, yeah, he said the same words I said. Yeah, I don't think anyone would want to deal with that if I get to that point with Rails. Because I'll be sitting here and I'll have like the strongest opinions on the dumbest stuff. Everyone's just gonna be sitting there like, why does he care? I'll be like, no, trust me. I know what I'm talking about. Oh, jeez. Why not have a C# job till you get a Rails job? I don't know. I thought it'd be... I personally would like the Rails experience more than anything else, especially if I'm going to be out here teaching people how to use Rails. I feel like I should have like firsthand experience there. But yeah, maybe I just go over to Next.js. Maybe I just go become like a Next.js dev and then, I don't know, sit here and make fun of Kamir all day. Be like, well, actually, I don't think that needs to be a server component. I have a nickname for Theo, Next.js. Main job is basically leaking my company code base on GitHub gists. Yeah, your gists are they seem like a cause of concern for you. Just really funny. Oh, and then we can do a Kamal deploy. I keep forgetting to do this, but this will actually update the server. And then if we Control Shift N, we can come here. We can Dean and password. And then that works. Nice. Share the main branch. Oh, for his code. I dread the day that Kamir shows up in chat and he goes, I got fired because of the stream. It does feel like that sometimes. No. Stream's not ending. Stream ends when I say it ends. I'll keep everyone hostage here for another hour, 2 hours if I want to. The main branch is my personal main branch. That's the spirit. See, that's another way to know if you're a senior dev. If you sit there and you go, the main branch is my playground, you're either like brand new and you don't know any better, or you have too much authority and you're running rampant. And that usually means you're a senior. Or at least your seniority is going up at that point. Let me click on this. Dean successfully wasted 5 hours and is planning to waste more. Oh yeah, this again. 86 pending changes outgoing to main branch. That's how you know you like living on the edge. My favorite's when you get like the, this happened to me a couple times. You'd have your branch, you'd be working on your ticket, and then someone comes over, usually like your boss or whoever, and they go, hey, so I know you're about to merge this. I have some changes that I'd also like in there. Is it cool if I merge them in there and then we just do one pull request instead of 2? If you ever hear, then we just do one pull request instead of 2, run. But that would happen a couple times. I was like, okay, sure. Just merge it into my branch. I don't care. I'll write the tests. I'll make sure it passes. And then you're writing the tests, and then that takes you some time because you now have to also write the test for this person. And then someone else comes along and they're like, hey, I know you're doing a pull request. Can I merge my code in with yours? And then we can save some time. And I'm like, oh no. And then what ended up happening like 2 or 3 times, and every time we said this would never happen again, my branch would slowly become like the new main branch or the new dev branch. And then when I would have to merge, my branch would have, of course, all of the problems you could possibly imagine, because now I've got like 13 different people's tickets in this one branch. And you go to merge it, and then you just see that little red text appear, and you're like, oh, what have we done? Yeah, tests are for losers. And that was sort of the mentality that I was trying to fight against, was tests are for losers. And that was like, thankfully, something where my boss at the time was absolutely fantastic and was a huge advocate for like, we need to fix this mentality, across the board. And that ended up getting fixed. And then like eventually our director would also help with that. It was so helpful to have people in the right positions that would go, we should probably fix this workflow a little bit. But man, when your branch becomes that, and then you start to realize that there's like, it's not just a ticket that could fail if your branch doesn't go in, or not just 2 tickets. It starts becoming like, oh, we have like a week's worth or 2 weeks worth of customer code that could fail if my branch doesn't go in. And that causes stress. That was really stressful for me, where I was sitting there like, okay, if like maybe what I did is wrong, and then I can't figure out how to take it out of here, and then we're just stuck in a situation where we can't use any of this. Like, what do I do? It was all just because like that first time someone said we could do 1 pull request instead of 2, I should have stopped and I should have said like, don't go down that path. But that's on me. I'm realizing now I don't like this. I don't like that there's this sort here with nothing else down here. So this is going to have to change. We're going to go back into the README. This is going to get added as a to-do. Change sort button. I don't even think it needs to like not be here if there's not an item here. I think it's a combination of, if there's no item here, it shouldn't be here. I don't like that it's on a different line than the create link, even if it's going to be a drop down eventually. I also don't like the color. I don't know. This has to change, but at least we got something out today. And we can figure out what we can do in terms of, we're talking about for the other streams. Can you make me a mod so I can block Kamir the next time he mentions Next.js? Do you one better? Actually, let me do one that, here we go. There we go. Spam it across all the chats instead of just one. We're a equal opportunity employer here. I learned enough Next.js to feel like I have to defend Next.js now. That's sick. Thanks for sharing. Learning a lot from you. Oh dear. Careful learning from me. You'll pick up my bad habits. But yeah, like the main thing you can have if you're working as a developer is like a boss, or like a boss's boss or something that advocates for what you think is the right approach. I was very fortunate that I had the whole chain sort of like in agreement, which caused a very quick shift in like company culture. And I think it very quickly improved like coding quality overall. So like, I guess some of the things we talked about, because like defense contractor recently moved to like software and stuff. Hold on. Our architects gave us a rule that we need to squash all commits before merging our feature into a development branch. Our DevOps team wanted to help and automated that in GitLab for all branches, including master. Fixing the mess when it appeared, and the other team took other. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, even with like the stuff we were trying to implement, it was always, these are great practices and we could probably make a lot of progress doing these and blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares. But it turns out that the company already had like a coding style guide that they weren't using for the last 10 years. And then you're like, okay, so we've been pushing for all this coding, uniformity and stuff. But like other people aren't going to follow those same conventions. They're going to make, like mistakes or whatever. Yeah. The next day we were banned from squashing. Yeah. And that's what ends up happening. So like in our case, it was, we had some of these rules, and then we ran into an issue where one of the teams, like, I don't fully remember what they did, but I think they merged 2 things in with the same pull request. And it caused a bug that didn't pop up for like a couple weeks. Because usually when we ran into bugs, it was like a multi-threaded issue. And then like we had to retroactively go back and we had to like bisect the commits and figure out where this performance issue happened. Because like at some point, someone did something that caused the app to run slower, specifically in this one instance where you had these threads running in a specific way. And then we ended up having to go through, there was like 6, 7, 8 of us in a call because we worked remotely at the time, after work, because, at this point we were in panic mode. And we would sit there, we would pull down an individual instance of the application, run it through this specific test to see if this would happen. And then if it happened, we knew, this was the thing. If it didn't, we knew that it was somewhere between wherever we were and wherever the other guy was. And we were trying to like break up the workload like that, which again, if you had automated testing, wouldn't be as big of an issue. But at one point, like my former lead, because at this point I was also a person who would make questionable decisions other people listen to. My former lead left for like McDonald's, and he came back, and like someone had solved the problem. Like someone else figured out what was wrong with it. But the whole time I was sitting there and I was like, this should have been caught like weeks ago with actual testing. And then I was like, actually, that's what I've been advocating for. But if people don't actually do it, then you're never going to run into it, and you're never going to find it. It's just, I don't know. You can advocate for it all day long, but if it's not actually followed by everyone, it's not going to catch everything. But like some of the things we did, you have like a Bitbucket repo or a GitHub repo or whatever, right? You have these READMEs. And nothing had a README, which made it really hard to use this stuff because you're talking about like completely proprietary applications you've never even seen before, not public facing at all. And you come in here and they're like, the README is just like, we need a README make README. You're like, okay, so then you got to go find like who made this, who the last person to use this was, and they're never at the company anymore. You got to figure out by looking through the code how you actually run it. So I was like, okay, every project should probably have a repo. That was what we started with. And then it was like, well, sometimes there's a project in a project. So then we were like, okay, if you go into a folder and the folder is also a project, we should probably just put a README in there. And for some reason, this was like a point of friction with a lot of people was, we don't need the READMEs. I'm like, dude, there's no source for us to go to even figure out how to run these things. Just put a README and like throw some stuff in there that tells me how to use it. And then like we got a wiki, like an internal wiki. And then we started populating that with data. And that wiki, thankfully, used Markdown. So by getting people to use that internal wiki, which they thought was super helpful, we were like conveniently farming READMEs that we could then go put into the repos. It was like, if you're already going to write it for the wiki, just go put it in your repo. And then suddenly you have this. And then people start doing this and they're like, oh, actually, it's really nice to just have commands in the README. And I'm like, yes, that's what it's for. Have you ever used like open source tech? It was so frustrating. And then like similar for testing and everything else. It was like, it's always pulling teeth for some reason until eventually you do it and you go, oh, it's really nice to have something that catches my mistakes. You're like, yeah, that's what I was trying to say before, which probably means that we just weren't communicating it well enough. Maybe they felt like we were just, I don't know, encroaching too much. I bumped into the same wall trying to advocate for a design system to avoid duplication of visual inconsistently. If you build the coolest component library ever, but nobody uses it, there's no value. Finding a partner to advocate for this kind of initiative and build momentum is crucial, IMO. Yeah, and that's what it ultimately was. It was my lead and myself trying to advocate for this initially, but it wasn't really until our director of software took over, who was a fantastic guy, where he was like, no, this is serious. We're going to actually push for this. Everyone got in a room. Everyone started to agree on stuff. And then it started drifting in that direction very quickly. And that's where, like, I don't know, it felt like it became a more fun place to do development because when you move between products, you would go over to the other one and you're like, I know where the README is. I know how to run the product. I know how to run the tests. I know a basic summary of what the app actually does. It's like very simple stuff, but it makes it so much better when you start. And then, of course, if you hire new people, it's the same thing. They go in there, they look at like the README and they go, oh, actually, I know how to use this now. It's not a meme that you got to spend 2 weeks trying to set this up. Now you start there and you can get up and running. Like, I don't think we ever had someone that had 2 weeks spin up time on my team. And like before my team, it was probably like a couple months worth of spin up time. When my team started doing it, it was like, guy starts on Monday. I get in a call with him at some point, either on Monday or Tuesday, after he like gets, selected for my team or whatever. And then I go, okay, so team lead's busy. I'm going to be here to help. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to run you through this. It's not going to make any sense. We're going to try and get you up and running though, so you can at least do some code. Because when I started, it was literally like you would start on like a Monday, and I was told your lead won't meet with you until Thursday. And I went into like the group chat with everyone. I was like, hey, if anyone needs anything, like, I'm here to work. What do I do? It frustrated me. And then I got everyone else, like onboarded a little faster. And I was like, okay, mission number 1, make it feel like they can actually work while they're here. And then they could like, at least look at the code, figure out what they're doing with the product. And then they could go do their HR paperwork or whatever they had to do. But at least get them to a point where they feel like they're not just sitting there. Like they always have something to do if they would like to do it. I'm not going to sit there and say you have to be working right now. I'm not that guy, but I'd like to at least have you feel comfortable so that you can, you can work so that you don't feel like you're not working. Let me see. MySQL versus Postgres. I tend to use Postgres, but I don't really have a preference one way or the other. Like I use MySQL, for example, with my my WordPress website. I joined one company working in Elixir and worked there 2 years. The README was awesome. It was basically copy pasting everything and all the stuff was working. Yeah, and that's where it was like really nice. We got to a point where you could, if you had to run like your code coverage reports or anything like that, you just go to the README or you go to the wiki or whatever we had internally, and you just copy the comment or the command out of there if you needed to. And in other cases, you would even just have like a script and it'd be like run the script and the script will do stuff for you. And then ta-da, here's your code report if you cared about that stuff. It was just, I don't know. It took a lot of fighting, not really fighting, but like it took a lot of negotiating to get to that point. But once we got there, it felt like a really good place to work. Did you buy once? I did not. Turns out docs are helpful. Who would have thought? Yeah, seriously. And it's such little work to just write a decent doc when you have like, what is it, Wiki.js. I don't know if you guys have ever used this, but like you can just write the raw stuff and it'll get converted into Markdown and you just copy the Markdown. It's so easy. And still, getting people to write docs, it was like, oh, you want me to write documentation? It's like, dude, you wrote like a 30-page Word doc yesterday. This is so much easier. This is like code adjacent. You can actually put code in there if you want. And still, nope, don't want to do it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Why is Basecamp code so clean while the rest of open source Rails apps are not great? Couple reasons. Main reason, Basecamp knew people were going to look at it. I'm willing to bet that they did some extra polish because they knew that was going to happen. If you know your code is going to be studied by people, which they probably had a pretty good idea was going to be studied by people, then you're to put in that little bit of extra like elbow grease to make it work and make it look good. But I would also say, and maybe this is controversial, I don't know. I would be careful looking at a company like Basecamp, even if they like are the DHH, or if they are like the DHH company and they're like the Rails creators, quote unquote, as an absolute authority. People like to make the argument that because they make and run and use Rails, that they are like infallible. And one of the things, and this is going to be like a terrible comparison, but one of the things that you learn when you start playing a video game with the guy that made the video game is that just because he made the video game, it doesn't make him good at the video game. And often the developers don't have enough time using the video game to actually know how to use or how to play the video game. And I feel like it can be similar there where you do want to be careful, you want to be critical, and you want to say, okay, they do probably come from a place of authority, but I shouldn't blindly follow everything they do. So when I saw all of that and everyone's like, whoa, they do it this way, I should completely stop doing it how I've been doing it. I'm like, well, no, you should take that into consideration, but just because they're doing it a specific way doesn't necessarily mean that you should be doing it that way. But Rails is extracted, not invented. Yeah, but if I find a way that I like doing things, it's an opinionated framework, and my opinion says one way, and everyone else is doing it another way, and then I release an app, and everyone goes, well, your opinion is the opinion that I want to follow. And then you suddenly stop writing any code that the other way that everyone has always written it, you can also run into problems. I would caution against blindly following that path. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it, is you still want to think critically. Yeah, and also it doesn't really matter for end users. Like how do I put this? I'm trying to think of the quote. There's a really good way to summarize this. It's like the end user doesn't care that all of your code is commented. They just care that it works. And like you can sit there and you can say, oh, this application I've designed, it uses all of the modern best practices from Basecamp. All the logic is wrong, and none of the messages will ever get to you, but like it uses all of the finest the finest Basecamp logic. And the end user's like, okay, but your app doesn't work. I've tried to send a message 4 times and the message keeps going to the wrong person. And you're like, yes, but the code is very refined. And that's where like, it's great to look at it and to take some things away from it, but you want to be a little bit careful. I'm not saying like if you follow Basecamp logic, you'll end up in a situation where like your app just doesn't work. But like, again, question what they're doing, question why they're doing it, and then say, maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. I don't know. But it would be weird if you looked at every decision they made and you said, this is absolutely always going to be the correct way to do things. Unless, I don't know, maybe the code base is so small that maybe the sample size is just small enough that that is true. But I would find that a little strange. It's very similar, like if you go over to Python and people like, again, how they emulate like Guido. And then you get like a huge section of the population that goes, yeah, but I want tail recursion. And he goes, no, you don't get it. And then if you were to just say, okay, never mind, we don't need it ever. Okay, but like other languages use tail recursion though. So like, yes, he has that opinion and that's fine. But it's a little strange to just say, never mind, he doesn't want it, so we don't need it. And that's where you should have some kind of discussion. Like, I don't know, instead of just use React server components everywhere because it's edgy. Yeah, exactly. Will gRPC replace REST? I don't think REST is going anywhere anytime soon, but you never know. Again, these things can always change in the future. Who's going to buy once and share the code? I don't think that'll happen. But I also don't think that people necessarily need to go look at the once code to make decent enough apps. Annoying microservices. Oh, don't get me started on microservices. I got a whole team worth of people that'll probably like start shivering if you say the M word around them. The worst part is it wasn't even actual microservices they were complaining about. It was like this botched idea of microservices. Did you buy once? I did not. I figured at the end of the day, I'm probably going to see enough code copy and pasted on Twitter to where I've basically seen most of the once code base anyways. Or people going, oh, so here's a video on what I learned from once. It's like SpongeBob with what I learned at boating school, but it's what I learned buying once. Like my company code base. Exactly. Like if you post enough of the gists, I'll be able to piece it together. Yeah, that was like the original joke, was like the Twitch sub money will go towards a once license. And then I think it became a RubyMine license. And then I don't remember what it's going to now. But it's probably not going to either one of those things. But then I'm a little bit jaded to begin with the, it's still going to a RubyMine license. There's no way you're going to get me to spend money on that. Again, for anyone who doesn't know, let's go look at a RubyMine license real quick. If you haven't seen this before. Again, I have an editor right here. We did this for all of our videos so far, all of our streams and all this other stuff. This one's free. This one's got yearly billing. Here's your yearly billing. It's our money. Yeah, so I'm trying to stop you from spending your money on this. Please don't give me money for this. We have RubyMine at home. RubyMine at home. See, isn't this nice? It's all colorful. It's pretty. It's got a Shopify theme. Look at the Shopify theme. Isn't that cool? RubyMine at home. Your VS Code theme sucks. How dare you? I'll have you know this came stock with the, what is it? The Ruby LSP extension. When it was like, hey, do you want to install this? And I was like, sure. It matches my terminal. It's like a little bit of a, I don't know, like a peach to it. Which I realize doesn't make any sense, but that's immediately what I thought of when I saw this. Oh, I should go have like a nectarine or something. Coca-Cola in a Pepsi glass. I don't know what you're on about, Brad. Oh, geez. It's so dark that Disney is making a movie based on your VS Code theme. Yeah, but think about how happy the Disney movie will be. The darkest themes cause the best Disney movies. Weirdly enough. The only reason I use RubyMine is they use IntelliJ at work, so I'm buying all pack with a monthly subscription. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. Like I looked at it at one point. I was like, oh, you know, actually this is kind of just it's not a good price for a piece of software. And like the downside again is I could use that like privately and that'd be fine, but I would feel really weird doing videos or like, you know, streaming or something. Maybe streaming it's different, but like doing the videos and going, okay, well, anyways, I'm using like a pretty expensive editor. And then like, how do I get people to use this? Why they hate on RubyMine? Well, I don't hate it. It's just like, for me, I already have something that works. And people can use effectively what I have here for free. So I don't want people to go, oh, I need to have a $230 license to follow along what Dum Dum on the internet's doing with his Ruby code. Waiting for the, oh my God. Yeah, I don't think you're getting that remake anytime soon. I always, whenever I see like license, oops, that's the wrong place. Whenever I see license costs that are like, are you even a 10x developer if you don't change your editor every week? Well, and that's the other thing. Like I could buy RubyMine, but then I would be missing out on whatever that one that Fireship did a video on, fast new editor in town. And like if I'm not using this one, then what's even the point? This one, the Z editor, that was it. Like I got to go use Z now. I can't go use RubyMine. Look, like RubyMine doesn't even make the list here. ZDev. You can also buy an editor license. Those are what you see is what you get. Yeah, look at this. It's got AI or something. That's how you know it's probably over-engineered. Why is DHH going for Windows or NeoVim? I mean, I have my own pet theory. I don't know if it's correct, but take a look at what's happening with him in the App Store and the Basecamp apps again, and then wonder why he's going away from Mac. And maybe it's not about what he's going to that you should be wondering. It's why he's leaving what he was on before. And I think that'll answer a lot of the questions there. It's very similar to no longer incorporating in the state of Delaware. It's usually because there's a catalyst behind it that's far more important than what it actually started with. Have you seen the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity Lay's chips? I can't say that I have. Although I showed this off earlier. I did see, was it like Oreo popcorn or something? Which is like weirdly the most American thing I think I've ever seen. Like just disgustingly American. I don't know, like maybe other countries have stuff like this too, but every time I see this, I'm just like, this is something that only we would think was like a good mixture of things. And it is exactly as much Oreo as you would expect. Like it is a weird mixture of flavors. Oh yeah, that cookie that makes you... Yeah. Oh, they do have like cool animations and stuff. So maybe it is worth using Zed because like this might sell me on it right here. Zed's breakthrough performance starts with our GPUI framework, a new way to build 2D user interfaces. Rasterizes the entire window on the GPU, just like a 3D game. Oh my God. Oh, they really went all out with this, huh? Okay, you know what? Oh, and there's no price. But it's only for Mac. Of course it is. It's built in Rust, bro. Is fast, bro. Yeah. Built-in Rust, only available on Mac OS. Can't wait to see when it shows on Windows and Linux and people have integrated Intel graphics will use it. Yeah, exactly. That was my first thought when I saw it's like a video game. I'm like, oh, great. So now I'm going to have to worry about my FPS while I'm coding. Just sitting there like, oh, yeah, nope. This, Hold on, guys. I'll change that line of code as soon as my my frame rate catches up again. Yeah, we got to start getting people employed so they can afford a computer that can actually run our editor of choice now. That's where we're at. If you're not using a 4080 to do your basic dev work, what are you even doing? Or sorry, a 4090. That's what concerns me about learning Rust, is it's going to turn me into one of those people that's just like, no, my app is fast. Trust me, I've made it in Rust. The government should just print more money and give it for free. Yeah, system.out.print line money. There you go. I solved the wealth issue. It's that easy. I have a 4090 and TypeScript and Telesense server still crashes. Wait until you hear about Zig devs. Yeah, I've been hearing more and more about Zig devs, and it does feel like some of the Rust people have gone over to Zig, and they are just as vocal as I would expect. But there's like a weird, like the Venn diagram of like Zig devs, Rust people, like Rust early adopters, and was it like Zig, Rust, and I guess, yeah, Bun would probably fall into it too, where people just like talk about that is I don't know, it's weirdly circular with a type of person that might use NeoVim. I don't know. I feel like when people tell me like, oh, Rust and Zig, I expect the next words to be out of the mouth like, why are you using VS Code? You should be using NeoVim, or something to that effect. Which is probably also a reflection on me as a person, which might not be the best, but I hear it and I'm like, oh, it's coming. Like there's that like building urge where they're like, I have to mention it. I have to NeoVim. You're like, okay, calm down. People are allowed to use other tools. It's just so handy. I love it so much. What's wrong with Vim, man? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just always weird when people go like, I don't know, they have to disparage the other option to make their own option feel like justified. Like they have to discredit another to credit their own. Like I don't have to sit here and say like NeoVim is bad to say I like using VS Code. Like I know VS Code has its flaws, but like it gets the job done for me. I'm not out here going like, I don't know, like Arch people. Yeah, like all of it. Just go use Linux. Why are you using any operating system besides Linux, people? I've been using Linux for 30 years and it's the best thing ever. One of these days I'll be able to hook a printer up and it'll work first try, I promise. Those kinds of people. Thank you for calling us out. I was silent in the Vim thing. I don't know. Like if you want to use it, go for it. But it feels like the people that are likely to early adopt Zig are also the same people that are leaving like the comments on the videos that are like, he's not using NeoVim. I can't believe this. And I'm like, who cares? It's like the people that are like, oh, you use an Xbox and not a PlayStation. Ugh. Like, okay, are we still doing console wars in 2024? Like, let people play what they want to. Who cares? But then I know some people that are like that with like graphics cards. Where like, oh, I can't believe you're still using like a 2080. And I'm like, dude, all I do is play. Like, look at the games I play. I play like RuneScape and I play Minecraft. Dude, does it look like I need a super powerful GPU for that? Yeah, if it does the job, why care? Exactly. Like maybe if you're at work and there's like specific configurations for the editor that you care about, then sure. And again, it's like a job, so I don't really care what I use at work. If you want me to use something that'll take me 10 years to get my job done, then I guess I'll do that. I'll probably explain to you that wouldn't be the best choice, but okay. But like for personal, I'll just use whatever I'm comfortable with. And in my case, like VS Code, I can just kind of open everything. Buys a 4090 to play old school RuneScape, exactly. That's 100% me. And weirdly enough, if you enable like the HD plugin, sometimes still not enough. You can be sitting there with a pretty beefy computer and that thing will still grind to a halt because like optimization's hard. Like when Pal World launched, I had to turn off the HD plugin on RuneScape to be able to play Pal World while RuneScape was running. Open City Skyline 2, no balls. Dude, that is That's a good example. Yeah, we don't need more than 30 FPS for our menus. And that's not because we capped it at 30 FPS. It's because we're struggling to hit 30 FPS in our menus. Yeah, there were some interesting development decisions that they've made with that game, which is such a shame because I always liked the city builder, city skylines. I don't know, like I like their aesthetic for it. I like just the comfy, cozy nature of playing those games to like de-stress. And then you find out that like, oh, your computer can't even run the menu for it. A little bit frustrating, but what are you gonna do? Hopefully the actual game plays better. But then I hear like a lot of complaints about it, so I don't know. But also you have to be careful because these days it kind of becomes a meme to complain about the game that you play. So sometimes the people that complain the loudest might still be playing one of the better games. But you also see in like different fan bases and different medias as well, where they're just like, yeah, I hate this. I hate this show. And then you go to the subreddit, everyone's there like, I hate this show. And the show's like the most popular thing in the world right now. You're like, okay. A little bit weird, but sure. Like one of the weird ones is the Naruto subreddits are just like horrendously anti-Boruto, but they continue to watch it. And you're like, why are you still watching it if you don't like the show at this point? Every time I'm like, this is such a strange, it's such a weird way to pass your time. You're like hate watching the show, I guess, which I don't know. I like watching bad shows as much as the next guy. But like if I watch my favorite show slowly descend into something I don't like, I feel like I would just stop and pretend the show stopped whenever I still liked it or something. But yeah, like the City Skylines 2 thing, if I open this up, I don't like shows. Yeah, I guess that one solves itself. But yeah, last I heard they were having like, yeah, mostly negative. So I guess a lot of people were upset with it, which is unfortunate because I really enjoyed the city builder type thing from City Skylines. I don't like shows they ran out of ideas too quickly. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing, especially with like long running anime, it does wear on you that ideas are very hard to come by sometimes. Unfortunately, I have put in way too many hours into way too many long running animes at this point. But I have found the cure with Jujutsu Kaisen, actually. I just go to the subreddit and I look at all the funny memes that come out of it off of the manga spoilers. And then I'm like, okay, I basically know everything that's going to happen in the story. I don't need to watch the show now or read the manga. I can just pop in for the memes and go, okay, that character, that thing happened to that character. I'm like, okay, I know everything I need to now. I don't want to watch the show. It's a very, very quick way to solve it. But yeah, like I'm unfortunately or fortunately caught up with like the Boruto manga. I read pretty much the whole thing start to finish a couple weeks ago again. Like the Boruto side of things, not the Naruto side. And it seems like it's pretty good. And then I go over to the subreddit and the people are still complaining about stuff that happened like a year ago or 2 years ago in the story. And I'm like, well, but ever since then it got better. But if you actually like read through it, you do kind of sit there and go, well, this is just like playing on themes from the first, I don't know, 300 chapters. I can pretty much tell what's going to happen. And that does take a lot of wind out of it as opposed to like reading an actual, I don't know, like book. Oh, that reminds me. Actually, I was supposed to mention this at some point. If anyone likes The Martian, the movie or the book, I think it was this. Hail Mary Martian. Project Hail Mary, that's what it was. I would recommend checking out this book because I bought this for my dad because it's by the guy who made The Martian. And apparently he really liked it as well. I guess they're like adapting it to film later. So yeah, if you were like a fan of The Martian, maybe consider picking this up. And then hopefully whatever they do with the movie at some point ends up also being good. The worst thing about the movies is that you can easily guess who's going to die in the movie because their character is not being developed in the movie and they have no story. So I'm always like, oh, yep, this guy's not going to make it to the end. And I'm almost always right. It's so common. Yeah, it's that. And it's also like, oh, this character's been in the show for, I don't know, 3 years and I don't know anything about him. And now he's getting a backstory that's kind of tragic. And I'm like, he's not going to make it. You're just sitting there and you're like, oh, this is a sad backstory. It's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. It's unfortunately, like, there's some tropes that you pick up on that where you're just like, oh, I've ruined it for myself. Like, there was one my younger sister was watching a couple days ago, and she's 16, so she's watching the show, and I walked in, and it was like about a kid who was sick, and then he got better, and then the girl he was talking to wasn't sick, and it seemed very similar almost to like The Fault in Our Stars, I think. And I was like, I bet this is what's going to happen. I kind of just paraphrased what I remembered from like The Fault in Our Stars. And like an hour later, she's like, that's literally what happened. And I'm like, yeah, media has been ruined for me at this point. It feels like they just kind of copy paste what the other guy did that worked. And they go, okay, we're going to do the same thing. We'll just change the names a little bit and no one's going to pick up on it. Like, dude, that's crazy. Y'all really just took the entire story and just said, all right, and it's ours now. This summer, the success in our stars. Oh, geez. All right. It is unfortunately 10:30 though. Let me see. Is there anything else that I wanted to get done today aside from the stuff? I have stuff to do the video. Oh, yeah, okay. I think, unfortunately, I am going to have to call it here because I do have to go record video for YouTube tonight still. Or I have to edit it, sorry. I might be doing an extra stream this weekend. If not, you can catch me the rest of the week. Yeah, over on Twitch if you want to go follow it. If you're on YouTube, you can go here. But we might do something this weekend. I don't know yet. Maybe some kind of like game related stream. So it'll be more chill. There probably won't be anyone here on the YouTube side because nobody cares. But if you do care, feel free to maybe check it out. If I end up doing it, I don't know yet. It depends on what I have to do this weekend. But yeah, thank you everyone for hanging out. I do appreciate it. Say bye from us to YouTube viewers. Twitch chat says bye. And the YouTube viewers, I'm sure they feel the same way. They're probably over there like, oh man, that Twitch chat, they ruined like a 5-hour stream by stopping any progress from being made. It's so funny. All right. But yeah, hope everyone has a good night.